So we got it here, right? Now check this. So Veitch was born in Brazil. Brazilian mother. Now, I don't know how to take this, right? Because wiki editors, I'm not going to say they're clever, but they've learnt tricks over the years. That Brazilian mother means nothing. It might as well just be from any other nation. When they mention nations, see, when we think Brazilian, we're thinking samba and the dark-skinned Brazilians. But, you know, it's not always as clear-cut as that. And then a Scottish merchant seaman. Veitch's father was a Scottish merchant seaman. And you see, again, Wikipedia think they're clever the way they frame this merchant seaman, because you get the impression, well, you don't in the very next sentence, but the jump is from merchant seaman, so you're there thinking, oh, he was a sailor, he was pulling the rigs, and then he became, just so happened to become, a wealthy oil worker after that. But what do they mean by wealthy oil worker? What, he grafted by doing all the what's it, by working in the, you know how they worked in the furnaces of the Titanic, like they showed in the movie, burning the coals. He was burning coals, saved up enough money to become a wealthy oil worker. That's what they want you to believe, but it's the way they frame it. A wealthy oil worker. Well, let's just separate wealthy and then separate oil worker. Basically, he was an oil tycoon, because a worker, he could have been the bloody CEO. They want you to, they want to impress upon you that he was he had grease all over him and was loading coals from being a sailor, and he saved enough money to then buy his own oil rig. No, he was a merchant seaman. He was a merchant trader. He was probably high ranking. Oh, not probably, he was definitely high ranking. And then he became a wealthy oil worker because of his rank. He received enough accreditation, enough networking, because that's what merchants do. That's part and parcel of everyday life for him. Business is networking. And so he paved his path through the lineage that he had to become a wealthy oil tycoon. So Veitch, Mr. Veitch, comes from a lot of money. Now, this is another issue, isn't it? How is it that in all these movements, these people come from billionaire families, not even millionaire families, billionaire families, but their target market is the lower classes, or lower on the socio-economic scale of society? How is it? How is it that royals come down and play their... How is it mostly celebrities have royals as their lineage, or royalty within their lineage, or they know someone that knows someone, or is married to someone that ties them in to aristocracy? How has Veitch got 800,000k in his... We'll see, we'll continue. He attended Edinburgh Academy and received a Master of Arts with honours in philosophy from Edinburgh University. I don't know if Edinburgh Academy... let's just have a look at this, right? Let me just see what Edinburgh Academy is, because I've got a rough suspicion it is to do with arts. Because academy doesn't sound very university-like. And again, that could just be clever framing by Wiki to hide the fact that this guy comes from a theatrical leftist background. It is... interesting though. It's a private school, but there's a case that I just saw there. Look at this, right? Look at this. latter half of the 20th century, there were many cases of physical and sexual abuse of pupils by Edinburgh Academy staff. Latter half of the 20th century. What is it? Like, which year is that? Which year would that be? Latter half. We need to get to the history of that, because if that's the case, we really got to check Charlie Veitch's age. Let's check Charlie Veitch's age. Let's see if he was present at Edinburgh Academy in the years this scandal took place. This latter half, and the latter half here is showing 1970s, then how old is Charlie Veitch? And are we talking late 70s or early 70s? If it's late, then look, let's see. Then we're getting, if it is, then we're talking real conspiratorial then, aren't we? Seriously. So he was born in 1980. He is 45. I did say if it's late, then it's a problem. Look at this as well. What do they mean 1980 or 1981? Why would, how does someone, why is that even, how does someone not specify a date of birth? Guys, it can't just be me, right? This guy, there's no clear evidence of when he was born even. They're not listing the date he was born. I've never seen that. For someone that is still alive and active, how do they not know his year of... How? Let's go back to Edinburgh Academy. So he's 45, 46. The scandal: 6 men accused of a man later named Ian Wares of physical and sexual abuse when they were pupils in the 70s. Okay, so he was born then. Sorry, my apology. He was born in the 80s. So this was about 20... let's say... they're not giving enough information as to when he attended Edinburgh Academy. It would have to be, what, at least in his 20s. But I'm saying, even that, 22 years after the sex scandal of abuse. The Scottish CPS was reluctant to prosecute because of difficulties in seeking his extradition. Look, even Nicky Campbell, BBC broadcaster, the Nicky Campbell that was on that Big Questions that Adnan Rashid appeared in, and so many others. Tommy Robinson's appeared on there. Nicky Campbell disclosed that he had witnessed and experienced sexual... Nicky Campbell went here as well and witnessed... Fucking hell, what was Nicky Campbell then? I'll have to look at Nicky Campbell, guys. Oh no, see, he's 64. He definitely suffered it. So this Edinburgh Academy has a history. Nicky Campbell's been to it. Charlie Veitch has been to it. I've taken Edinburgh, the tab. He's lucky we didn't dig more, but the Edinburgh Academy has a history of sexual abuse. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm not suggesting anything. All I am suggesting is I Alright, we'll get to it. I'm suggesting, I'll say one thing. It doesn't seem like this guy is interested in family and the opposite sex. The type of life he's living. I can't imagine having a home life or a life with the opposite sex. It seems like he's just dedicated his whole life to selling his soul, selling himself for clout, pay. And then we look at Edinburgh Academy and see the abuse that was taking place 20 years before that. Nicky Campbell from the BBC. Oh, remember that though, yeah? Remember the BBC and Nicky Campbell from the Edinburgh Academy, because we'll go back to Charlie Veitch, where we were. Where is it? Here is it. Here it is. Alright, so Edinburgh Academy. So merchant seaman, and then we go up. Merchant seaman is also as so this is just the description for clarity. Merchant seaman, also known as merchant mariner, worked aboard commercial or merchant vessels in the merchant navy. So I put this up to prove that Wiki are playing around. They want to impress upon you a poorer person than Charlie Veitch's dad was. But he's a commercial worked aboard commercial or merchant vessels in the merchant navy. This is a man of standing. You may want to search merchant. No, don't need that. I thought, yeah, I'll just highlight that. And then Veitch. So this is where his entry gets curious and curiouser. Veitch joined the Territorial Army, which is like a precursor to joining the army full on. But it's like a bridge between the scouts and the army. It's interesting that he just even went there, because anything associated with army military is, I mean, whole industry of psyops is military based. But he worked at why did they write HBOS? It's not HBOS, is it? Or is it just me? Is it HBOS? I'm sure it's not written like that. Unless it's changed. What is it? But yeah, banking. In wealth management. So this guy not only has a slight military link, but he worked in banking. In wealth management. Again, that's put very obscurely. So this guy clearly comes from a super rich family. Military associations. And navy associations, and he's worked in the banking industry. What level? They don't say. In 2006, he became interested in 9/11 conspiracy theories and was eventually occasionally posting on YouTube. He was laid off from HBOS in 2009 due to the financial. Wiki again being very clever here, or cunning. What do they mean by laid off from HBOS? You see, with rich people, filthy rich people, like merchant, seaman type rich people, they have something called insider knowledge through the networking, through the networks, and through the fraternities. That's the whole point of knowing people. It's not what you know, it's who you know. So laid off, I don't fall for that, I'm afraid. It was convenient enough for him to carve a very successful alternative career. The red flags are that he came from wealthy family, came from military background, and worked in banking. And not just a banker. I mean, like, if his dad was a merchant seaman, you can better believe he was into like wealth management, it says here. But there are assets, and there are managing assets, and then there are managing assets. So then it says here, made guerrilla videos protesting on a full-time basis June 2010, Veitch, who then described himself as an absurdist filmmaker, part of the Love Police movement. Many of you may remember him with Danny Shine. Danny Shine, another dodgy character, very dodgy character, promoting antinatalism and for British people, not European people, or for every people actually, not to reproduce. And that it's it's just antinatalism, that it's cruel, and why would we ever? He actually actively promotes this. You must have seen him. But Danny Shine, again, Jewish lawyer, living in a plush house in a very affluent area of North London, has 3 children himself, preaching to other people not to have any children on moral grounds, on ethical grounds, on spiritual grounds. He even goes there. He even argues on the basis of morality. And he impersonated a peace officer at Toronto airport during the G20 summit period. Went viral. I remember that one. Like, it's people that go viral are meant to go viral, and not all of them are shills, but in those days it was. Today, anyone that does anything stupid is viral material, because the main project is to promote stupidity. It's to dumb society down, and anything that fast forwards, that accelerates it, they'll go viral by proxy. But Charlie Veitch went viral for very different reasons. It was because he was meant to, especially in those early 9/11 truther movements. Became a 9/11 truther. Look, even they put it in inverted commas, truther. You're taking the biscuit. In 2011, he was included in the BBC's That was done for me then. BBC's 9/11 conspiracy road trip. When the BBC invite you to take part debunking conspiracy realm, it's finished. That's the kiss of death there. When you accept that invite, it's nails in the coffin. According to an article by Slate, by the 3rd day of actually speaking with people he had believed responsible for covering up mass murder, Veitch was starting to believe he was. Oh yeah, and then he went on and said that everything he ever believed about. So he had seen all the evidence of Building 7, the paper passports and the dancing you-know-who, everything that was out at the time of NORAD not sending out their mission in the appropriate time, and Shanksville having no rubble, and all the rubble at Ground Zero being shipped. All that information didn't matter anymore, because the BBC convinced him that he was wrong about the whole thing. Funny how he was wrong about the whole thing when he went on a mainstream program. All the other documentaries couldn't convince him, but the BBC could. BBC have powers, you know. Very powerful organization. Something tells me it wasn't the BBC that convinced him, it was what they offered him. He later confessed he no longer believed 9/11 was effed by the United States government. I remember when people were asking, this guy was shrugging off accusations of all sorts like it didn't matter. And now I get why he did that. It's because these people, all of them, all these grifters, they pin everything on people having short memories. And they take advantage of the sheer bombardment of messaging we receive. That yesterday's news is just going to be yesterday's news. That tomorrow there will always be something else. And if attention spans are being reduced slowly but surely in society, then people will forget that I did this and I did that. and it would just be an appeal to the next generation because the previous one have been rinsed. These are real nasty people. His decision to denounce 9/11 drew backlash from Alex Jones, David Icke, and death threats from unfounded criminal. All that was theatre. All of that, because these were all actors. Jones, Icke, all of these death threats that he must have received were all theatre. He was an agent from the very beginning, planted. That whole 9/11 movement, that truther movement, was there to sweep away true investigation. So this is where people that have started, that went through that truther phase, this COVID period was easy pickings, really. I just don't get the people that go through these cycles, like especially older people. And we're talking about really senior people that have gone through even more. Like for many of our generation, it was 9/11 that was the blow up. But people have seen wave after wave after wave after wave of theatre, and yet they still think Tommy Robinson's a bloody hero. Now, what more do you want to see? They think Charlie Veitch is a hero. In recent years, he's made walking YouTube videos set in northwestern English towns, commenting, interacting with people. All right, so this is who he married, and this was this was not his wife. I refuse to believe most of what these people say is official. If these guys have got a Wikipedia page, all these entries, I've just shown how they fudge their words. This was his beard. If I was to hedge my bets, I'd say Charlie Veitch is gay. There's nothing that suggests to me that I don't know if does he have children? I don't know. I think when he talks, because I've heard him speak very disparagingly and derogatory towards people not getting laid and not having women and not ever having sex with. I'm thinking normal men don't talk like this. It's like a bit too try hard and a bit too full on. It's like you're trying to prove your masculinity by degrading someone else, and the subject isn't even about. Like, for someone that is so tall, he shouldn't have as much small man syndrome. So what is he compensating for? Is my point. So when you have a wife like this, it's a problem, because I don't know how someone like this can hook up with someone like this unless both are fixed in their weird rich people circles. I don't know what they get up to. I know their marriages are very different. I know their priorities are very different in life. So she was the director of the British Civil Liberties NGO Big Brother Watch. Interesting, eh? Carlo worked on a defense fund for Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden is another shill, a CIA product. As is, what's his name? The other guy, Assange. I don't know what people think these guys have revealed that wasn't already known, but hey ho. But when you're working on a defense fund for a CIA asset and you're married to Charlie Veitch, then what does that make of Charlie Veitch? If he's appearing on a BBC program and denouncing, maybe his whole belief in 9/11 at the very beginning was for the project of teaching people how to see the light and see that the whole operation was that we were fooled. We thought it was an inside job, but it wasn't. That could have been his whole project from the very beginning. And I think it failed. She appears in the 2020 American documentary film Coded Bias. So she appears in the American documentary film Coded Bias. Could she be classified as an actress? With Aryan Kamfis, she co-authored Information Security. for journalists commissioned by the Centre for Investigative Journalism. She's been an organizer of crypto party events in London. I don't know what crypto party is, but anything crypto is, well, crypt is like what? Crypt is where it reminds me of cemeteries and tombs. Before starting her role at Big Brother Watch in 2018, she worked at the human rights organization Liberty. Senior advocacy officer, led work on technology human rights, drove legal challenge to the investigatory powers 2016. She appears in so she's an actress. Appears in the 2024 film 2073. As of last year, she's officially an actress. Now, this is the surname of Veitch, right? Alright, this is where we got it. Veitch, Scottish origin, derived from the Old French word vache, meaning cow. It is believed to have originally referred to someone living near a place associated with cows or dairy farming, which sounds innocuous, but it isn't really. Because where the royal family of England are from, well, that region anyway, they have some of the best cows in the world. One of those regions is the Holstein region in Germany, or Schwab region. But yeah, some of the best dairy cows in the world. And you think, all right, it's only cows, but when you have a cow, when you have 3 cows, and your family have an emblem and a crest, 3 cows with horns, by the way, 3 cows with horns, then you're from nobility. There's no doubt about it. You're not from the people in the valleys. The name Veitch was first recorded in Berwickshire, Scotland, around the year 1200. Now, my point is when we saw the variation Old French vache, that tells us, again, it's not only Wiki being clever here, it's all of these sites, because I don't know whether they're being clever or they're just using, it's the terminology that dumbfounds, because we saw that there's a French variation, and we know that in Bannockburn the Templars to arrive were from France, and this is around about the time, I think, as well, you know. So Veitch, vache, it's a Frenchish origin, but they want you to think it's Scottish, but they arrived in Scotland, similar to how the Normans arrived in England, and how the confusion of what is English and what is British, but effectively they're all Norman. Like, let's say the name Myatt, M-Y-A-T-T, sounds British, but it's purely Norman, it's French. They too, by the way, Myatt, have a family crest. So early notable figures include Randolph Veitch and Alexander de Lavache, who witnessed various charters. This name has clout. Soldier and governor of Nova Scotia, a Scottish Covenanter, but where's the other? It's something I want to show you. Something else. Please tell me. Oh no. There's a part which says, I have to put that in, the Ashkenazi part. Trust me guys, it's an Ashkenazi name as well, so you got that spin too. Veitch family crest features 3 black cow heads on a silver shield. The motto Famam Extendimus Factis translates to, we extend our reputation by deeds. Wow. Can you imagine Charlie wearing that today on a t-shirt while doing what he does? We extend our reputation by deeds. Maybe that should be his slogan. He should take it up. That's his. He should wear his family crest with Fred by his side and have that emblazoned across his chest. Look, the surname reflects a rich history tied to Scottish heritage and agricultural roots. That's Charlie Veitch there, guys. Yeah, nothing about Charlie Veitch strikes me as being English, British, or even Scottish for that matter. Look, this one and this one here. See this one? See this one? All of them really. He's younger than Ron Perlman, but he's just got that facial structure. Look, this one especially. This one, look, it is almost the same. These people, they're all from family.